How you doing? Now, I was trying to think of something earlier, and my kid came by, and he was talking to me about cutting wood. I said, hey, you know what? He needed a saw. I said, hey, you know what? I got a saw you can use. So I gave him the saw, but it made me think. I remember, back when I was younger, probably about 17 years old, I needed to make some cash. So a friend of the family goes, hey, we need some help cutting a right-of-way. And it's good money. I said, well, how much is it? He goes, it's about 25, 30 bucks an hour. Well, being young, that's good money back then. I said, okay, I'll try it out. So I go up there, and I got this 036 still saw. Actually, it was an 056 still saw, an 18-pound saw. And I really didn't know what I was getting into, but so I show up, and they supply the gas and the oil, and it's up in Western Oregon. What is it? It's cutting a right of way. What the right of way is the power lines that go through the forest, the woods. The trees get too tall, and they got to be cut down, cut away. So it's about, I don't know, 300 yards wide, 300 feet wide, and it's miles long. So I go up there the first week. I got my saw, I got some boots, wore some Levi's, a shirt, had some gloves. Got out there cutting, and I froze my ass off. So I'm cutting them, we're cutting these trees down. And as you get one guy on the left side, it's called the right-of-way. One guy on the left side of the right-of-way, one guy on the right side of the right-of-way, and another guy in the middle. And you go up and you take all the trees out, cutting the right-of-way. Then other guys jump in the car, and they go up about a mile, and they jump off, and they're cutting back this way towards us. So, and then in between us, the truck parks, or they leave supplies there. And, man, first week, I'd get out there cutting with that 18-pound saw, and wow, running out of fuel, have to run up to the truck, fill the fuel up, put bar oil in, come back down and start all over again. And I noticed that these guys, breaks or anything, lunchtime, they all go to the truck or the little base they got set up, and they spend their time doing there. And it gets cold. And I'm going, I can't deal with this. So I do this for about a week. Man, broke my ass going up and down. Get my paycheck. First thing I do is I run down and I buy a pair of chainsaw chaps. And they're chaps, nylon chaps, like leather ones you ride a motorcycle with, but these bind. They're chainsaw proof. So if the chainsaw accidentally hits your leg, it'll bind up in the chain and won't cut you. Will keep it from cutting you. Bought me some long underwear. Bought me a Carhartt jacket that was big and puffy. Got me some new gloves. And I noticed that when you're cutting and it's cold, if you're wearing safety glasses, they fog up because you got a hard hat on and safety glasses, because you could be cutting a tree or something and a branch will fall, hit you, so you got to wear a hard hat. So I go, yeah. I found this thing's called Bee's Eyes, because your safety glasses fog up and you got to take them off and wipe them off all the time. And what they are is they're like glasses that go around, but they're not glass, they're mesh. They keep any of the wood chips from flying back, but they don't fog up. Got me a steel hard hat. And then I went to the sporting goods store and I bought a weight belt, like you lift weights with. And I took that, and I took a punch, and I punched in the middle of this leather weight belt 3 holes. And then I took this dog lead with 2 dog leads on it, 2 ends on it, and I ran them through one, and I emptied out 2 Clorox bottles, rinsed them out, let them dry out, kept the caps, and I hooked this dog leash through the handles, through that belt. Then I got another pouch that was about this big, about that tall, and I hooked this on the other side of the belt. Now what I would do is I would take any tools or anything I need, and I'd put in this pouch with and then I'd take a little water bottle and I'd hang in the other ones I had water. Then the Clorox bottles, I filled one with gas mix and one with bar oil. Now I'd go out the next week, I would get out, I could take off cutting, and instead of running up there to get fuel, when I ran out of fuel, I'd just stop and fill up out of my jugs. Keep on cutting. Now, 10-hour days, halfway through, I would fill up. That would get me, I could get through to the middle of the day. Then I'd have to go refill my jugs. So what ended up happening is I would get out, start cutting, and I would get up the road, and then they'd have to drive up to pick me up at the end of the day. And I kept on doing that every day. Pretty soon, they laid everybody off. And everybody used to kind of make fun of me because, oh man, Bob, he just gets out there and he just goes. We don't know, he just takes off. But they selected guys to go on another crew for another job. Because I did that, they picked me. And I went up to Scappoose. Castle Rock, Washington. And I cut right away there for another year before they realized I was too young to work and then let me go. But that's another story. Yeah, I remember just freezing my ass off. Yeah, well, hey, late Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I hope yours went well. I have my coffee. And I think my Christmas and New Year's went pretty well. So I had some of the family come down. I cooked a 15-pound prime rib. So I pulled this thing out of the refrigerator, a couple hours for its time to cook, and I let it come to room temperature. Now 15 pounds, that's a pretty good sized prime rib. I put the stove on 500 degrees and I let it warm up to 500 degrees. I take the prime rib and I cover it with some spices and kosher salt. Now I'm liberal with the kosher salt because this is kind of an idiot-proof way to do prime rib. When you're putting kosher salt on it because you want it to create a bark on the prime rib, you want to be liberal with it. The best way to tell you is if you think you put too much on the prime rib, put some more. That's how liberal you want to be. And pepper and garlic and oregano and just, all the seasoning you want on your prime rib. Stove comes up to 500 degrees. This is Christmas Day. Stove comes up to 500 degrees. You put it in there. You let it cook for 5 minutes a pound at 500 degrees. Once you come up to that 5 minutes per pound, shut the stove off and let the prime rib sit in there for 2 hours. Don't open the door. Don't look at it. if you open the door even one time, it messes the math up and it won't come out correctly. So, prime rib gets done. It comes out 15 pounds of prime rib. 4 kids, 5 adults. These kids don't eat prime rib. Well, they don't. So those give me some great big pieces of meat. Delicious. My wife made the mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, this corn casserole thing she does. She makes this stuff called panini soup, which is delicious. Delicious. And we all sat down and ate. And they ate all my food and drank all my booze and left. Well, it wasn't quite like that. But they ate. We had a good time. We opened presents. They left. My wife and I and my grandchild that stays with us all the time jump in the car and we drive up to Oregon to see my daughter, her 2 kids, and my son-in-law. Now, this is 8 hours. It's snowing, but it was really, really fun. Got up there, it was snowing. It was very nice. Matter of fact, I think I put a short out on some of the snow up there. It was really, really nice. We had a good time, which I hope you did too for your New Year's and Christmas. Then we drove home. All this time I was up there, I was thinking, Bob Ross, he's the godfather of ASMR. And I've been doing different things with my ASMR because I always tell everybody, hey, don't be afraid to experiment. But I really hammered down on my niche and thought about what Bob Ross did. Now, Bob Ross, he didn't do ASMR to put you to sleep. He taught you how to paint, but he did it in a very relaxing way so you would relax and you would feel good about watching him paint. Boom. So I came to a decision. On my daytime job, I teach. I don't teach, but I'm building training videos. I'm building safety videos. And I do this unique way where I have to, on a training video, I have to connect with you emotionally. So, like, let's say you're installing a pump, and I'm going to do a training video on this chemical metering pump that you're going to install. So your whole crew's there, and I'm training you on how to do this pump. You have to take pieces of putting a pump in to connect with that person to make that training resonate with them. For instance, they made this Watson-Marlow pump that when the head comes off, it's a clip. Super easy to do. And that's how they sell it. Super easy. But it's on a table when the factory shows you. It's on a table. Take the clip off, spin the head, pull it out, put the new head on, spin it back, clip it in. Boom. They forget to say that you got to take the 2 hoses off. Now what will happen is when you pull that top hose off, there's a ferrule and a nut on there. That'll fall off onto the ground if you don't watch it. So I think back and I go, how many of these guys have dropped that ferrule on that nut. There's something special about this ferrule on this nut is that it's only on this pump. You can't run down to Home Depot and buy it. It's got to be ordered from this company to match these threads and this size. They do that, so you have to buy the rebuild kits from them. So I want to make a connection with them. Now when they put them in these skids, these cabinets, they're lifted floors with a grate on them. So when this ferrule and this nut fall off, it goes into that grate down to the bottom. You have a hard time finding it. Well, but it's easy. Well, when they install these pumps into these skids, they're down low and they're turned around to the back and there's other equipment. They're not that easy to work on. So when I build a training video, I try to pull something out that will resonate with them. And you know how many times one of those guys have been down there on their knees? It's usually in a place where the temperature's really low and it's cold, and they've popped that off and forgot, and it's fell down in that hole. Then they've had to fish for it in the cold, to where if I do a video where he pops it off and it falls down into like a tray that goes underneath there, then they remember, because they go, oh man, I remember losing one of those in there. They remember. That's how I kind of connect. And that's a relatively simple scenario. But Bob Ross is kind of doing the same thing. He connects with you. So I've decided for the next new year, I am going to film my podcasts talking about ASMR and how I'm building this channel. And I've started 2 more podcasts on other subjects. So I guess what I'm saying is that this year is going to be big for us. We're going big because we're not going home. So stay tuned, buckle up. I got a lot of stuff in store this year. I hope your year went great. I hope you're having a great time, and I hope you got everything you wanted, your kids and your family. I hope everything is great. Till next time, I'll see you later.